the mothership. The mother plane, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called it, also called Nibiru, commanded by Enki, or the son of Enki, Marduk.
But you now live influenced by any alcohol, drugs, or narcotics. You understand you are charged with 40 counts of aggravated child molestation, and you are charged with 2 counts of influencing witnesses, and you could receive a maximum sentence of 10 years in confinement for each count.
Now, before I read this article, there's another article which you guys can click on that just talks specifically about the alleged charges. Jersey City teen charged with beating, burning 5-year-old appears in court.
Yes, Nibiru. In this day and time, is Nibiru real? Yes, it's very real. Okay. Was Elijah Muhammad lying? Right? Because it wasn't just Dr. Malachi York that was saying it. You know what I'm saying? It was Elijah Muhammad who kicked the whole daggone thing off, and probably people before him. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you go out the history of people before him, but I'm saying as far as in the African American community.
People will refer to as the Vulcans, meaning those who are of frogs or frog-like people, breaking part of the planet into pieces. However, the rulers, the Maldikians, are very large. The Maldikians are very large. The Maldikians are very large.
I want to give all the praises and the honor to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Rucha HaKodash, and double honors to the elder apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Also a sincere shalom to you other brethren, you followers of the truth, and let me say shalom to the elect. I want to go in this video here now, and I don't want to make a repetitive video on Brother Polite, and we don't make these videos because we see someone fall, you know, and they're going through what they're going through, but we do these videos to bring light and bring truth, that if it was of the Lord it would remain, okay, but because it's not of the Lord it will not remain, because these are weird, false doctrines. And leave it to our people. The more weirder, the more people will come, you know. And Brother Polite had an issue when he approached the apostles, and they was talking about the whale, and Jonah and the whale, and he didn't believe in the whale or the fish. He didn't believe that. He just seems like is cartoonish or something sci-fi, right? But according to what these guys believe, reptilians walking with endowed, you know, endowed penises and things like that. This is what they say. The planet Nibiru. Dr. York has taught it. I believe Elijah Muhammad. Brother Polite, I believe. I mean, he's just the offshoot of Dr. York. But remember, Brother Polite, as I said before, he takes everyone. He takes a little knowledge from everyone, and he enfolds it into his own doctrine. And you know, these guys, this is what they do. They get these doctrines, and they'll hear a doctrine. They'll go to seminars. They'll go to actually white people, you know, so-called white people, and they'll have seminars with them. Then they'll come in and they'll indoctrinate a doctrine, and then they'll flip the doctrine and they'll make it more exciting and package it with a bow ribbon on the front for people to take it, to accept it. because after all our people are in a dire situation where they're looking for answers. And as we scramble to find our identity, and we believe as Israelites, people are trying to find their identity in whatever other doctrine that they have, you know. This is the Nibiru Cataclysm, right? The Nibiru Cataclysm is supposed this disastrous encounter between the Earth and a large planetary object, either a collision or a near miss, that certain groups believe will take place in the early 21st century. Believed in this doomsday event usually refers to this object as Nibiru or Planet X. The idea was first put forward in 1995 by Nancy Lieder, founder of the website Zetatol. Lieder describes herself as a contactee with the ability to receive messages from extraterrestrials, and the Zeta Reticuli star and system and implant in her brain. What did it say? The system through an implant in her brain. So she had an implant in her brain, and somehow she's able to contact with other phenomenon, or other aliens or whatever the case. See, these are the type of things the scripture says, seek not that things that are above thy strength, right? We let the Lord deal with all that, with the which we know to be angels of the Lord and what they look like and everything else. We don't get into all that. We just know that the angels of the Lord, and they don't look like this man who rules the earth, right? But they somehow, this guy, Dr. York, okay, and you could say, well, he was a mentor for Brother Polite, and you kind of see the corruption out of Dr. York spiraling through all his followers, and anybody who remained engaged in his philosophies has also become corrupted, right? It says she states that she was chosen to warn mankind that the object would sweep through the inner solar system in May 2003. Through the date was later postponed, causing the Earth to go to a physical pole shift that would destroy most of humanity. Right? And you got Bible believers, believe it or not, who believes in Planet X. Somehow they managed to take the doctrine of Planet X and roll it into the Bible as well, when clearly in the law it states not to worship or go to the things from the heaven above. But this is what people do. So it was supposed to occur again in 2017 and hasn't happened, right? So this is clearly a corruption, a corrupted seed that brought forth corrupt fruit. Let's get that in Matthew 7:17. Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep clothing, right? Sheep's clothing. These are all these guys too. This Brother Polite has something called the New Covenant. He gets it right out of the Bible. He creates something called the New Covenant, and he makes himself a prophet. So to speak, he's not a prophet, but they would call him, people have called him Brother Polite, Prophet Polite, I don't know. It says, but inwardly they are raven and wolves. Ye shall know them by their fruits. Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles, with a question mark? Do you want to actually reach in and get grab thorns? Okay, like go fishing. You don't want to catch the crabs. You want to catch fish. Right? It goes on to say, even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. Right? And this is this guy, Dr. Malachi York. Right? He's been alleged, or let's say he's been charged with molestation. Okay? Now I'm going to talk about that a little bit, because I haven't talked about that very much. But let me go here, molestation, molest, we'll see what molest means. It says to make unwanted or improper sexual advances towards someone, to force physically or usually sexual contact on someone. So when you go to the ancient times, when we say that that happened, right, this was not the same rape as you see today. Women knew what the deal was in the ancient times when they were taken by a man, right? It wasn't like she had to really fight unless she was with a husband. And that's where you get these terminology actual rape from, because it's two different kinds of rape. You got righteous rape and unrighteous rape, right? The unrighteous rape is when a woman has a man, because all rape means is to take. You know, you had somebody say they broke in my house and they raped they raped me and took all my stuff. You know, or you see somebody that lose a game and they say they got robbed. Does that really mean they literally got robbed? You know, they went in somebody's house and robbed them. You could even say they got raped from that terminology of, unrighteous losing. They wasn't supposed to technically lose, but they got raped, meaning taken. And that's all that means. But the ancient days, in the ancient times, you would have had to know that, when a man came upon a woman and these situations happened, they wouldn't have been totally against it, because it was the right thing to do to get married. You wanted to get married. You wanted to, you helped your family as a woman, you played your part, but it was time to be married off. There was some arranged marriages, and there was some incidents where if it happened, the man who did it had to pay the father 50 shekels of silver. It was just that simple. But in these day and age, in this time, the hypocrisy of the house of conscience, how they say we mistreat women, and then you see Serenetta, he's having an interview, and their job is to smooth everything out and say, well, we got to get the whole story and this and that. There's a statement of facts. All you got to do is read the charges. He knows that in this society, when he took that bag and he took all that money, he should know that you are not allowed to do that, and that's the bottom line. You are not allowed to molest the young women like that, okay, or take a young woman in this society. And you can call a young woman on the outside, but in the inside, this young woman is 14 years old. She has the mindset. Most of these women today at 14 years old has the mindset of probably a 9-year-old. And the ancient woman of 7 years old would probably have more of a mindset of a 14 or 15-year-old today, because of the education and how they brought up. Understanding that the mind develops as you get older. That's why when you're with you're married with someone, they call it growing together, because you develop, when you're young like that, you develop physically, okay, and mentally together, okay. But this is why these Egyptologists, the Most High is showing his hand, not with just this brother polite, all these whack characters, Natural Tahuti, Sarah Sutin, Shaka Mose. You see all these guys, just having these troubles. Well, I don't know about Shaka Mose, but I know this Natural Tahuti and this other woman from Baltimore, from here, caught with drugs. You see this. 1 Corinthians 11:7. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against any man or beast, that ye may know that the Lord doth put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel, right? So the Lord put a difference between them. So you can't read Isaiah 19 and say, oh, Egypt my beloved, or Egypt who I love. But the Lord put a difference between them. So a lot of you guys who follow Egyptology, right? You will go right on down with the daughter of Babylon in Egypt, right? Let's get one more scripture. This is Isaiah 31:1. It says, "Woe to them, destruction to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in their chariots," trusting in the whole system. Okay, because they are many. You see Polite take that money. He took that bag. He bragged about all the money he had. And again, we don't hate. And I'm not doing this video because I hate Polite. I don't know him. Now I do understand that when you have so-called friends and then you get in some form of trouble, the next thing you know that your friends are no longer your friends. Then everybody's quick to hate you and they haven't even saw the matter. That's why we say blame not before I examine the matter, which I have, through the Spirit. We've seen the statement, the charges. But people are willing to jump on anything. We understand when you set yourself up to be a public figure, this is what happened. Okay? But he trusted in Egypt. He believes he's Egyptian, or whatever he is. But you don't never know what the hell he believes. He's in everything. As I said, he jumps from doctrine to doctrine, consumes the doctrine, and bring forth a new doctrine, and then he gets in all kinds of madness. I saw one video. He talking about something with Israel. He went into the Bible and looked up the Hebrew word and everything, and talked about a woman's breast. But he was way off. But he said something about a woman's breast. I don't know what it was. And people sat there all captivated. He could say what he wants. He speaks fast, fluently. He used his mind. That's a good thing. But the problem is he's not with the Lord. So the Lord is casting all this, he's used the foolish things to confound the wise. We looked like fools at one time, but now look at us and look at him. That's all I have on that. Shalom.